QingTian, with the set taken off the board, will fall back towards the lead lane. Now, we've seen Karsa and Knight both play this, but certainly QingTian has been enjoying that pick in the top side of the map for himself. And now I think we'll end up with Xin Zhao locked in for Karsa here, although looks like we're frozen a little bit on the pick ban screen.
They've still got 10 seconds to lock this one in, and they're just deciding whether or not to go for that Lee Sin. This was banned away in the first game by Top Esports, so they clearly highly prioritized this pick, but that Viego is real scary. We've seen what Tian can do. We've seen what Nuguri can do. They can take over the game with that kind of pick. But over to Top Esports now, considering a mid lane very early on in the draft.
Yeah, I would like to see the... Okay, they're going to take the Thresh. So, looks like we'll get some sort of Aphelios, I imagine, for JackeyLove in the bottom lane. It has been, apart from the Ezreal, his most played. 5 games already on us, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that locked in. Varus going to be taken towards Lwx. Perfectly happy to go towards it. I think the question now, though, is like, what do you do for Top Esports as your jungler? Either you take the Xin Zhao here, or you're going to leave yourself where, okay, I don't like this, because I was going to say you take the Aphelios or something now to guarantee you get that, but FPX now have 2 choices, right? Ban Aphelios and Jinx, and your Thresh is kind of left with the nothing AD carry, or you can look towards banning away those junglers and making sure Karsa has an uncomfortable time. Now, you can still get that flexibility to Lee Sin in towards the jungle, so probably we'll see FPX target ban that AD carry role, but I certainly think you're kind of putting yourself in an awkward spot here as Top Esports.
Well, Lissandra is banned away, which is not something that I was expecting, but does well into the LeBlanc, and also is a pick that has been slowly but surely creeping up a little bit. We've seen it a couple of times, and definitely screams Doinb, right? Tons of dive potential, tons of roam potential, so I can understand the ban, but the affiliation you talked about is going to be removed by FPX.
Oh, I actually thought we were going to see a Kled ban. So Kled can actually do pretty well into the LeBlanc matchup, because you can tumble through when she goes to chain you. It means that then you can follow up when she distorts back. You can trade pretty effectively. She actually can't burst you out as long as you're on Scarl, so it can work pretty well. But FPX has a very heavy AD composition, so maybe calling out FPX going, look, there's not really too many AP champions you can take into that top half of the map with the Gwen, the Akali already banned away, unless Nuguri wants to go back towards something like the Kennen, which honestly could actually work here with how short range Top Esports are.
We'll see what they're going to go for. I like the Kalista, though. I will say, Dagda, after game number 1, I like a little bit more agency down in this bottom side. The Thresh Kalista, the Shadow Isles. We've got some thematic lanes. We had a Freljord lane earlier. We've got a Shadow Isles lane now, but the Galio coming through from Doinb. This is a bit of a classic. Very, very Doinb pick, right? You can roam around, you can make your impact made, but also allowing Lwx and Nuguri to be the carries for the team. The Jayce being hovered. Certainly a bit of a classic for Nuguri.
And it feels like a very much the same style for FPX as the last game when it comes to that mid lane matchup, right? Something that neutralizes the matchup and then gives you that roaming potential. Now, not going to be the one who's actually engaging, but we'll certainly be able to follow up on people like Tian, who's going to be taking this, or sorry, Tian, who's going to be on Viego. Potential here to try and buy space as well for an incredibly short range composition that Top Esports have gone to. So I think this Galio going to get a lot of use both in team fights and also just in the ability to try and play at the map state.
You can see Shenyi on your screen a second ago there. He's the one with a lot of pressure on him. Knight as well with this LeBlanc. Got ahead in the early game, but wasn't really able to do too much around the map beyond that point. Felt like it got a little bit out of his control. But I'm curious about what Karsa can do, because let's be honest, that early game, the early trading that we saw in the first few minutes of the game went very heavily the way of Tian, and it felt like Karsa never really got properly back into the game for himself. This time, he's on the Olaf. This time, he can win out those 1v1s in the early game. And we could see him grinning away. We could see him giggling on the camera just a couple of minutes ago. It feels like spirits are always high in the Top Esports camp. You can see Knight smiling away there as well. This is the kind of team that doesn't feel like you can ever break their spirits.
And it feels like they kind of have an easier draft to execute on as well, so I'm not surprised their spirits are higher. The ability to try and play through Kalista and Olaf, get these early objectives like the dragons, super easy to go for. Early skirmishes, heavily in your favor as well when you add LeBlanc into the mix too. So I think for Top Esports, just understanding, hey look, we've got a easier time of playing this early game composition. Whereas when you look across at FPX, it is going to be a case of, okay, if we're giving over pressure towards this dragon, are we making plays topside to try and punish QingTian, who's going to be left on his own? What are we trying to do to enable Lwx and Shen Yi? Like, that seems to be more the game plan as you go to look at trading objectives.
So we're heading into game number 2 here, Dagda, and the 2 matchups that we had to keep our eyes on coming into this series. It was Doinb versus Knight in the mid lane, and it was Nuguri versus QingTian, the birthday boy versus QingTian up in the top side as well. And it feels like game number 1, both of those matchups going the way of FPX, not necessarily in the laning phase, but in the way that the 2 players could influence the rest of the map. And it feels like that's regularly the story for FPX, and it feels like it's going to be the same story once again here in game number 2. Now, this time around, though, FPX's composition not quite as proactive as previously, right? A lot more long range. Galio, not really the pick that you want to dive in on in the same way as Nocturne. It's going to be a lot on Shen Yi actually being in the right position for Doinb to be able to ult in.
I don't even think they try to ult in, right? I mean, you're against the Kalista, who's incredibly short range. I think you're more trying to buy space here as Doinb for your backline to punish with that range, where you can actually try and poke down. And the second you try to hard engage as top esports, well, you are being met with Shen Yi's depth charges, hooks, Tian as well being enabled by that. So I actually like what FPX have here. It is just a composition that takes a little bit more time to step up as we get that early trading for that level 2 rush for the bot lanes on both sides.
Yeah, certainly Kalista, level 1, incredibly strong. I will say Lethality Varus, while it is weaker in the early stages, the Hail of Blades certainly helps it get through the early laning. But Kalista, one of the strongest level 1s in the entire game. Yuyancha, I mean, he timed the play, right? Just Shen Yi didn't hit the hook, so there was nothing to play in the end, as they will find themselves to level 2 early. And Doinb, he's going to have a hard time in the very early stages of the lane. He is Galio. You need your abilities before you can really do anything against the LeBlanc.
Knight's doing a really good job of trying to zone him off the experience, though. We'll just hop back into lane, so we'll actually manage to hit that level 2. But nice try there from Knight to try and punish Doinb as much as possible. But this isn't something that's going to get, as you say, better very quickly, especially when you look at the matchup between the junglers as well. Very easy for Karsa and Knight to rush down Tian, burst him out, and Doinb not ready to be able to provide a huge amount of the engage. Also, if you try and engage on towards Knight, very slippery and very difficult to actually lock him up as Doinb. So I think when you look at the mid-jungle 2v2, Karsa and Knight have that advantage once again. And that's why I think when you start to look down towards these early skirmishes bot side, top esports should be looking to try and power through. And that's what they're doing here. Karsa invading on towards Tian.
Tian does get his red buff, though. And maybe could chase onto Knight himself. Doinb moving over, but Knight has a lot of damage. Karsa will be able to walk away. Crab about to spawn, and you expect Karsa to be able to go for that one with Knight crashing a massive wave in that mid lane. It means Doinb cannot do anything to answer if a play happens on either of these crabs. Tian, though, just going to try and gank Knight instead. That's going to be the distortion on out to safety. I don't think Tian can chase this one too hard. The passive actually comes up. Maybe he can. He's going to go into the tower. Good flash by Knight, but it's not enough. Tian just solo killed Knight.
That was insane. He just... Oh, hang on, top side, QingTian.
Now we've got another fight up on the top side here. QingTian could be in trouble because Nuguri has range here. A couple more autos in, but QingTian gets out safety. It is going to be a trade evenly on the Scuttle Crabs. I can't believe Knight just went down to the jungler.
And that was so well played by Tian. He spotted... Look, Knight actually had little to no mana. He had one distortion and even managed to get caught by that stun coming through from Tian when he went for the distortion. Bot side, though, Karsa's here.
That's an unfortunate hook there for you, Yanja. It's going to go wide. And it does mean I think Karsa's just going to have to commit to this recall or not. Shen Yi stepping forwards a little bit too aggressively, perhaps. As Karsa is here. There's the player. Now they can start the play, but the TP comes on in. And they read them like a book. FPX knew exactly what was going on. Shen Yi survived. The CC chain is there from Doinb. And it's Karsa to go down. FPX, they know every move in the top esports playbook.
And top esports can't respond. We highlighted at the start of the day, Knight has been so good at responding to these sort of teleport plays, but Knight had already TP'd mid because he'd fallen towards Tian. So now FPX, yes, you'll give up some CS in the mid for Doinb, but he's a Galio. He doesn't care. He even got a kill bot side.
10 CS lead is all top esports are able to gain off of what's happening in the early game. And it's an almost 1,000 gold lead in favor of FPX so far in this one. Unbelievable performance, and especially from Tian here, who now wants a little bit more. He's not been spotted just yet. Blast Cone has just spawned. He was waiting for the Blast Cone to spawn, and Karsa leaves as it happens. They don't know that he's here, and now QingTian is going to be dived, surely. The stun comes in. Good flash from QingTian. Dodges away from the stun, and Tian taking tower. Aggro has to back away. Doinb is here as well. Top esports on the way. Knight going to try and make the play to save the day, but the ward spots out Doinb, so the W isn't going to land, and now there's a root coming in. He is a Galio. He's kind of tanky, but the carries go in. The solo lane is doing damage. Tian has to get back out of the play. Karsa trying to chase down Nuguri, the next target. His Tian goes invisible, but the flash forward from Karsa, there's going to be a blue. Scryer's bloom. In fact, they don't even need it. He steps out of the mist, and he's taken down. Karsa gets a little bit of revenge.
FPX and these dives topside haven't been going well for them over the last couple of series, and QingTian completely outplays them. Flashes, ward hops, stops that stun from Tian, and manages to turn that play around. Now, FPX on bot side, zoning off JackeyLove, because Yuanja went to help the top play.
And I tell you what, these two teams do not give a monkeys about Drake's Dagda. It is all about the top side. It is all about heralds and towers early on, because Drake's, they just don't come online early enough for these guys. We're well beyond 5 minutes. And now we're going to tussle for the top scuttle as Karsa is getting low. Nuguri wants a 2v1 for himself, but he's kicked back and he's taken down instead. Flashes away to safety though. Tian is here to save the play once again. And this Viego is getting huge if he can just close the gap. But QingTian can't get close enough to safeguard out. Oh, the shock blast! Nuguri was just waiting for cooldowns. And now Tian can go for the dive. The Sonic Wave goes wide, but it's a beautiful play from FPX once more.
Tian didn't have his ward available, so couldn't ward hop to try and close that distance, and now hook goes wide by Yuanja. But again, FPX coming out on top, and Nuguri just using the fact that he knew QingTian and Karsa didn't have their flashes available to bait that play in, and they managed to get it back. This is again FPX beating top esports at their own game, matching the skirmishes, matching the individual plays, and coming out on top.
I think I'm getting a little bit too excited here, Dagda. I need to calm down. This is only the very start of the game. But I feel like these games are just so damn exciting. It's hard not to get giddy when you're watching these kinds of teams going head-to-head, going toe-to-toe, and taking every single fight. I think that's the thing that separates series like this from just normal good series in the LPL. It's that teams like FPX and top esports do not opt out of a fight. They will take you down, they will take you on, they will never retreat.
And this, again, is why, obviously, we're so hyped for this series. But also, it's not going to get any easier, right? Because Doinb now has access to level 6. He gets to join in even easier on that top side. FPX already rotating towards this Rift Herald as well. Nobody left on the bottom side of the map.
Herald, I think, is just going to go down, though, before the fight can actually kick off. There's a smite from Tian. FPX get it. FPX actually want the fight as well. Lantern out to safety. Yuanja in trouble, though. There's a huge amount of damage. It's already 1 kill. FPX, now they can just sweep up. It's 2 kills going the way of Tian as he looks for more as well. Nuguri gets a birthday kill on top of it. And Knight and Yuanja left alone under the tower. Yuanja ain't on Yuumi this time. The same 2v5 can't happen again.
It's just been done. I mean, FPX, they are running away with this game. A 3,000 gold lead. And that's not only from all the kills that they've been getting, but it's from the control Nuguri has on top side. He's about to take his second turret play for himself. Lwx has already gotten one bot side with Shenyi. And when we look at this fight, phenomenal hook from Shenyi. Catches QingTian, who then leaps into his team with the the ultimate coming through from the Varus. It means that those chains of corruption are spreading across everyone on top esports, setting up FPX to take that fight. Knight now sending Karsa over to get the blue buff. But my god, FPX are destroying top esports.
Look, FPX may be winning in terms of League of Legends, but Knight is literally playing Pokemon with Karsa here as he sends his minion out to try and fight the blue buff for him. Hilarious stuff, but you have to say, right now, when it comes to the top lane matchup, it's very much Nuguri winning out. When it comes to the mid lane matchup, Sure, Knight has himself a CS lead, but when it comes to influence on the map, this is why we've been singing the praises of Doinb all split long. His champion pool seems to have no limits. No matter what you ban, no matter what you play, he has an answer and he will be more proactive.
So, I mean, look, we're 10 minutes into this right now, and a lot of their gold for FPX is situated on this top side, right? 3-1-2, Divine Sunder already completed for Tian. 2-0, Eclipse completed for Nuguri. Now they're looking at a potential Rift Hero play on towards QingTian as well. And again, one of the things that I've loved about FPX is how good they are at using Nuguri when he has these advantages. He'll start to clear up vision topside and look to make plays or dives in towards the mid laners.
They're going to try and kill QingTian here. He's in trouble in the 1v1. Remember, Tian already has 3 kills. He's already got a Divine Sunderer. He can happily take this 1v1 under the tower safeguard. Does exactly that for QingTian. Tian has to back away here. It will be traded for a dragon, but it's what I said earlier. Who cares about dragons in a game like this?
And again, I mean, for FPX, they're already starting to zoom on ahead. A siege composition that is so far ahead, full control of the map, no real pressure coming onto them, as I said, that actually maybe on bot side here.
Oh, here we go. TP coming out from the side. Top Esports, but it's answered with a double TP here as well. JackeyLove's in trouble. Low HP. Flashes away into safety, but the rest of his team is in trouble. Fate's call. Pulls out his support. No way do they all get away with this one. Top Esports initiate a play on the bot side. FPX answer. But Top Esports managed to retreat. Tian is off on the backside of this one. He's got the stealth. He's got the Heartbreaker available, but he doesn't go for the dive.
I wasn't sure if he's going to try and sneak in behind the tower, start heartbreaking across so many different members, but as you said, Top Esports, that was their play. That was the Hail Mary they were trying to do to get something back on the map, and it's responded so well by FPX. Nuguri didn't even reset before getting that teleport down bot side, so he's going to go back, spend all that gold he picked up. And FPX, they're just shutting down Top Esports every single play we've had in this series.
I just love watching FPX, man. They are so damn good at League of Legends. Everything they do on the map feels like a correct play. One thing I will say, Top Esports did just trade 2 teleports for 1. So QingTian with teleport advantage here, maybe that's a small window for Top Esports to be able to make something happen.
Oh,
Nuguri face checks into karsa. He is level 10, but there's 3 people here. Surely he goes down. It's the shutdown for QingTian. A nice little flash to get out of tower aggro as well. And it's a good play from Top Esports. They finally get something going their way.
And there's nothing for FPX to try and answer with either. You should have Knight able to move back towards mid lane to collect the wave. Karsa can just go back towards his pathing. So nice job there from Top Esports to get something back. And that's what they need to do pretty consistently here as Top Esports, is look for these sort of plays where they have pick opportunities and continue to try and use the fact that you've got like things like the Dragon's Rage, this LeBlanc. But FPX now, with the lead that they have, want to try and finish off some of these low health towers, particularly on bot side, or start to make these plays towards mid. The thing that we were talking about top side was Nuguri's really good when he gets these leads at shoving out top, moving in through the enemy jungle, clearing out vision, and then looking towards dives. Not even if it's a case of, hey, we're going to kill the mid laner, but forcing them back so we can take that mid lane turret. Keep that pace of the game going, and this looks exactly like the kind of game where you can do the same thing.
So, Dagda, I want to bring up the conversation of scaling here, because we're going to have... it feels to me, unless FPX can really put their foot down on the pedal, if we do get to the later stages of the game, the concern I have is FPX have very little magic damage. The Galio alone is not really going to be a huge magic threat. It does feel like things like your Lee Sin, things like your Olaf, can quite comfortably just build a boatload of armor to be able to win out these fights.
True, but like they're not really true tanks, right? It's not like you're up against a Mundo or something like that. And you tend to still go, because you're going with the Gore Drinker, you know, in towards Asterix, in towards the Black Cleavers, we say. JackeyLove though?
Yancha going to use the box, going to just stand in front of JackeyLove. The corrupted chain's denied by the face call. I don't know about that one, Chief. JackeyLove's in trouble now. Oh, Top Esports. Here we go. The answer comes in. QingTian to save the day. The solo laners come and revive the play once more. Karsa's there to pick up a second kill as Doinb looks to re-engage. It's a 2-for-2. I'm not entirely sure how that went even at the end of that one, but My goodness, what a display from the top esports bottom lane. Tian now the target. That's a big shutdown if Knight can take it, but QingTian's in trouble himself. Has a lot of sustain though, and it's Tian to fall. Shut down into the pocket of QingTian.
Nice job from QingTian to turn that around and actually get, as he said, that extra kill. Top esports coming out as the winners in that one. Still though, messy play on both sides, I will say, from the sports in that one. Yuyanja, questionable play, and Shen Yi, I will catch it on the replay, I assume. He tries to hook onto the dead JackeyLove and just yoinks himself underneath the tower as well. So, all in all, messy affair. But we'll get to see the replay over here. So, honestly, I like this from Shen Yi, right? Hooks in, gets the depth charge. Good job from JackeyLove and Yuyanja to use the Kalista Thresh combo.
Kill me.
This, though, from Yuyanja, very questionable. And then Shen Yi, watch him here. JackeyLove dies, as Shen Yi hooks himself right the way underneath the tower, which means he's taking all these tower shots. He's got to go golden. And this is kind of where it starts to fall apart for FPX, where you go in as Doinb, you don't really have Nuguri in a position to follow up, and they end up giving over that extra kill. Now top esports, though, looking towards this next dragon, which is up and available.
And you know what? I'm glad Dagda. I'm glad FPX kind of mess up a play on the bottom side, because it means we get a much more competitive game here and potentially a more competitive series as well. It's 8-5. It's still a significant lead here for FPX with a 4,000 gold lead. We're just 16 minutes in, 4,000 gold ahead. Knight wants to make the miracle happen, but the brush is checked, unfortunately for him. He would have loved for Lwx to show his bare cheeks down there, but it's not going to happen for now. No spanking today. As the dragon goes down, it's one apiece now in terms of the drakes. Maybe Nuguri is caught, though. That's going to be a sonic wave in. Big damage back as the kick comes in. The root goes there, but they just don't have the damage. And whoa, Nuguri does.
That was a nice turnaround damage from Nuguri. 2 items on this chase already means he's hurting quite a substantial amount. I mean, an entire item ahead of everyone else on top esports, but TES, what can they trade for? JackeyLove trying to push in the mid lane. Looks like Doinb will be able to answer with that bottom side turret. But again, these plays from top esports, they're trying to make the picks happen. It's just not going their way. And it's always FPX who are trading up.
I'm kind of amazed that they didn't have the damage to finish off Nuguri there, to be quite honest. It felt like he's a Jayce. He's not exactly tanky. With a Lee Sin and a LeBlanc, I would have expected that to go through. It was a level 11 LeBlanc as well, so it's not like Knight is lacking any damage at this point in the game, but unfortunately it doesn't hit for them. And I doubt we'll get a replay of it because it wasn't a kill, so oh my days, what is that? You know, Jayce is kind of strong, Dagda, especially on 2 items.
I mean, it's how far accelerated Nuguri is, right? He got those early kills, then he got the entire plates on top side, and now he's just been able to continue to farm up. Like, he's 40 CS ahead of QingTian in that lane. Like, he is so honestly, large compared to anyone else in this game.
You're saying it's down to how far accelerated he is. I would argue that he's even more accelerated than one of his shock blasts right now. That is saying something.
That is true.
But Nuguri, look, on his birthday here, having an amazing series for himself. He got MVP in game number 1, surviving plays that come out from top esports, turning plays around in favor of FPX. He's 2-1-2, and he's absolutely blasting the side of top esports across this series. Yuyanja moving in. And we need to see something from Yuyanja and JackeyLove. We need to see them show up in this series, but as I say that, Yuyanja's in trouble here. There's no JackeyLove around to pull him out with a Fate's Call, but the rest of his team is there to support regardless. Herald comes down in the mid lane. This will be at minimum a tier 1 taken. But with FPX grouped up, maybe they could try and force a little bit more. Knight does get hit by that Q in the end. The minion wave will be finished off. And you expect the Herald to be taken out as well. Knight is not enjoying playing against this Varus and Jayce.
I mean, FPX's composition in a siege is disgusting. And the fact they're ahead and getting the opportunity to just take pop shots all day long is never going to end. But like, who wave clears on top esports? There's nobody. Like, the composition from top esports needed to get ahead. Now you end up in a situation where 1-3-1, you lose. Doinb joins in too quickly, you can force a fight in mid lane, or Nuguri just blasts you in topside and ends up taking a turret for himself as well. In team fight, you don't really have control of any of these objectives, so FPX get to poke you out, they get to make sure that if you actually find some miracle engage, Doinb just jumps onto the target anyway. Like, you cannot really operate in this game anymore as top esports, and unless they start to punish some weird mistakes from FPX where it comes from positioning or making picks on towards Nuguri, then maybe they can have some sort of safety, but it feels like that's just so far away from happening.
QingTian trying to threaten the tower here. Gets a Q on Nuguri, but he's going to have to back away. Have to agree with you on this one. It does feel like, you know, Warhorse for the side of top esports not having the greatest draft here. And Nuguri and Lwx, they're like buddies that have gone to the fair and they're playing on that shooting game, except they were actually Marines in a previous life and they've been practicing with rifles ever since being small children, and they just pop every single target that pops up. It's disgusting to watch, and honestly, when you're in the position of top esports at this point, you have to wonder, has their coach done a grabs on this one?
Well, I actually don't even mind the draft. I just don't like the way top esports played it, right? We said, hey, you know what's really good at taking early dragons? Olaf, Kalista. Oh, you know what would be really nice with that? Some mid-priority. Let's just sprinkle that on there. They got that. Warhorse is like wiping his hands clean, going, set you up nice there, lads. Just tap it in. Just tap it in. And instead, they've sent it flying. None of this from top esports is them playing towards their compositional strengths. And instead, they've been able to give Tian kills in these early stages, given the opportunity for them to play through Nuguri. And we're sitting 21 minutes into this game and there have been 2 dragons taken and one of them is on FPX's side. That should never have been the case in this series.
I do have to mildly criticize your analogy there, Dagda, because you've mentioned just tap it in, right? It's a quote from Adam Sandler. And you've criticized them just smacking at Miles. Well, that was actually his speciality in that entire movie. That's the reason he was successful as a golfer.
But that's the point. So they needed to go to their happy place. They needed to just tap it in. Just tap it in. It's the finesse. That's what's lacking here from top esports. Go to your happy place.
All right.
Go to your happy place.
Are we talking about Fight Club now? Because I'm just seeing a cave with an icy penguin in it. Anyway, moving on. We've got a Drake going down here. Not so icy, bit more mountainous, as it's taken by FPX. That's their second Drake of the game here. And it does feel like, you know, top esports, they're not currently under siege, so they don't currently have to deal with Nuguri's shock blasts. And even if it's only for a couple of minutes, they're going to take a sigh of relief that they're not getting just blasted in the face indefinitely. Nuguri is now on 3 full items at this point. It's going to be very difficult for top esports to win any kind of fight in the next couple of minutes. JackeyLove is at least hitting 2 items himself, so that's going to be a small win for the side of top esports. But, you know, he takes 1 Q from Lwx or Nuguri. He's basically out of the fight.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not a good look when both Sterics are kind of preceded by the Serpent's Fang on the opposition side, because that shield ain't going to be sticking around for too long when you get that extra damage. So now FPX pushing in on towards this top side. Shock Blast to check the bush, and it ends up hitting on towards Karsa.
Got a hook up on the top side. Tian going to be caught by Yuyanja as Knight is up on the side as well. Heartbreaker onto him as Karsa disengages. Face call onto 2. Look at the amount of shields coming across onto this FPX lineup. QingTian actually goes in for this one. Kicks someone back into 2 wheels. Nuguri flashes back out of the play, and Knight can't follow it. Nothing goes down in the end. Just a lot of damage on either side, but no kills.
And that's all that FPX wanted. They've already wasted everything in top esports arsenal, and now the siege can continue. The basic abilities do more against top esports here as they take that first tower.
Tian threatening off on the side as well. QingTian wants to go in, but he doesn't have that Dragon's Rage. He can't initiate the play. And this is the problem, right? How do you get in without a flank for top esports? How on earth do you opt into a fight unless it's just Yuyanja finding a miracle hook? Tian gonna be able to get the red buff. Apparently it's Shenyi overextending is the answer to my question. We get an immediate answer as 2&P TP's in. That is gonna be a bit of a waste of a TP coming out from FPX here, but ultimately it's not gonna matter too much in the grand scheme of things. Oh no, pick coming out through onto Knight. He was trying to recall on top of a ward. Tian's still full HP. Knight actually jumped back into the middle of everyone, had a lantern, but now he's ever-frosted. Knight with an uncharacteristic mechanical mistake. And that's going to blow the game wide open. Baron is available, Dagda.
And it's a disaster from top esports. Nothing going their way in this series. And now Baron up on the cards. Top esports. It's up to Karsa, a flash steal, something to try and save this game right now.
I don't think it's happening. Doinb playing bouncer, just going to sit in there. QingTian is going to go in. He has to try and make something happen, right? But he's too late to the party. Doinb just going to disengage. Baron taken. FPX, they'll get away with this one easily. They might even just turn it around and win a fight, honestly, with the damage these Qs are doing. Doinb in to try and clear the wave. JackeyLove basically just tickles him with a couple of auto attacks. TP in from Knight. As top esports, I guess they're going to look for a dive hit. They're going to have to try and make something happen. Knight is over the wall, wants to get in onto Lwx. He's the prime target here. Tower will finally be taken. A lantern at safety. JackeyLove barely gets out, but now the flash forward from Tian. They get a hook onto the enemy jungler. Nuguri is on the back line here. Huge damage available for the side of FPX. And they're just blowing these health bars apart. Knight dashes away to safety. But safety is a relative term because he's not going to have a base for long.
Yeah, I think the only person at top esports who's going to be happy with this performance today is going to be Zhuo. This has not been looking good at all throughout this series. And now FPX, they're sitting a minute until this next dragon. That's going to be the sole point for them if they can pick that one up. And when a siege composition as far ahead as this is, it's all but lights out here for top esports.
Lights out for top esports, but the lights are going strong here for FPX. Nuguri hunting in the jungle there. Taking a look. Knight just recalls an award, but it's the W back. Look, he jumps back to this distortion. And you have to wonder what comms are like when things are going wrong like this for top esports.
I think the idea there for Knight was, hey, I'm going to jump back and try and make the chain. I think that, oh, hang on, straight into a fight.
They're okay, they're okay. I don't think we have time to talk about that. We'll talk about it after the game, Dagda, because FPX are wanting to finish things off here. Moving down into the mid lane, that's one inhib tower taken. And look at the pressure that Doinb is putting onto the squad of top esports. They're just forced out of the play. They're forced to retreat. They don't get to do anything here. These shock blasts from Nuguri. He hits two people every single time. In goes QingTian. Great kick onto the back line here. It's Nuguri to go down. Maybe this is the play from top esports. They have the fountain to reset health bars here. Karsa looking for undertows. Yuyanja's there, but the hook goes wide. He's pulled in instead. Yuyanja is going to go down, and he ends up ruining the play that QingTian managed to salvage for his team. Now FPX can rinse and repeat. Hook goes wide. Indigo double flay onto the squad. Health bar's getting low for top esports. Tian gets one. Now he's an Olaf. The low health bar's going to help him out. Knight is on the back line, but he just doesn't have any damage. He can't threaten anything.
Oh,
and Lwx is going to 1v1 him here. The Qs should come on through. Knight is rooted in place. Will dash out to safety. He survives at very least. Jumps in. You know, valiant effort, but he just gets taunted. Doinb finishes him off, and Lwx gets the killing blow. Top esports have survived, though, Dagda.
Somehow they have. I mean, the base is in tatters. There is a single Nexus turret left standing, a single inhibitor still there, and this was just one push from Baron. This isn't the Mountain Soul that, I mean, at least one dragon is going to go the way of FPX towards that now again. This is not looking good, and this was top esports trying to make so many different plays all at once. You can see they hook off to the side here to see if they can try and get in. QingTian, fair play, lad. Like, he's trying his damnedest to salvage this game, and these Lee Sin engages have been really critical. But Yuyanja here takes that step for too far. FPX turn around, and actually we've got to engage in mid lane.
You can see it was on a totally different page. Nobody grabs the lantern. Knight is in the fountain, and he still just goes for the play. It's like, buddy. Yeah, like, nobody's with you, man. Just back away. That's not the play. He saw his hero moment, but it doesn't work out. Knight now trying to get onto Lwx, trying to threaten the damage. And FPX, they're just like, look, we're strong. We can try and end the game on this one. Hook goes in, but the lantern pulls Yuyanja out to safety. Pulls Karsa, sorry, out to safety. Chain of Corruption going to be used as the Ragnarok answers it. And the waves crashing now. JackeyLove doing his best to clear these minions, but they, as you said before, they just don't have the wave clear to deal with these super minions. JackeyLove down to half of his HP as they're desperately trying to rend through the supers. Yuyanja now getting threatened as well. Goes for the hook, but it goes wide here. As QingTian in the middle of everyone, buying space, buying time, but he goes down. The rest of top esports kicked back onto the fountain. The Heartbreaker represents everything in this series for top esports fans. The triple kill for Tian. If he doesn't get MVP, I'll eat my shoe, because FPX have just dominated top esports.
absolutely destroying top esports in this series. Look at the grin on FPX faces. They know they're going for hot pot later on for Nuguri's birthday, and after a win like that, well deserved. Like this, from start to finish,